Melodic house, it's all about making amazing melodic stories in the forms of songs. And there's a couple of things that I do in almost all my songs that I take it almost as rules. And these are things that you should also be doing in your songs as well. And that's why today we're covering the rules of melodic house. But before anything, let me know over here, who is your favorite melodic house artist? Or even, is melodic house your favorite genre? Let me know over here in the comments below, and let's get started with this video. Let's go. Melodic house, it's all about the story that you're trying to tell to your listener. And as with any story, you will need a main character that will take the story forward and also keep your listener interested in the story. And in melodic house, essentially, this will be the lead of your song. But what is the lead of your song? Essentially, the lead is the main melody or the main motif of the story of your song. The most common way to do leads is actually just by using a synth and a melody. And it can be seen over here in the song called Say Hello by En Amour. Can you hear that repeating bum ba-dum, bum bum ba-dum, bum bum? That's the lead of the song. That's the element that all the listeners are gonna focus their attention in. And it can be done in multiple ways. It can also be a vocal. Or it can also be an ARP, as you can listen in the song called Cappadocia by Ben Bohmer. A lead is the most important element of your song because it will carry the main melody and the main motif of your song, as said before. And that means that we have to do a couple of things for it to take the spotlight of the song. In composition terms, it means that it needs a memorable and a catchy melody, because otherwise your lead can be perceived as just as a background element. Sometimes what you think is the lead is actually being perceived as the background element by other people. And the best way to understand this is actually just asking for feedback to your friends. In mixing terms, that means that your lead is as important as your kick and your bass. But that doesn't mean that your lead needs to be as loud as your kick and your bass. It just means that it needs to be as important as them in the mix as well. So if you put them too quiet, it can be a bit of a problem because it will be perceived as a background element as well. So when making a lead, don't forget that it needs to take the spotlight of your song. And for this to happen, you not only need it in mixing terms to be present in your mix, but also to have a catchy and memorable melody in your song as well. And now let's move on to another really important aspect of melodic house, which is making progress in your song. Now, the second rule of melodic house is that the story of your song needs to develop throughout the entirety of your track. And that has a couple of implications on how you build your own track. First, your elements need to develop and progress throughout your song. And that means that you need to make them more intense, either by opening the cutoff or making the sound design more intense, or second, by adding more elements that will make the song more intense. You can listen to this happening in the song called Go Back Now by Jero, and you can listen to the start of the drop over here. But now listen to the end of the drop one and listen how the elements are a bit more intense over here. Not only now you have a lead, but the elements that started the drop are now more intense. The percussions are also more intense, and that's the first part when thinking about the story of the song. The second thing that you need to think about is that, as with any story, you have a part A, a part B, and a part C. And normally the part C, which is normally the drop 2 or the last drop of your song, it's the climax of your song. So rule of thumb, the drop 2 needs to be more important than the drop 1. If you listen to Jero's track over here, listen how intense the elements are in the end of the drop 1. But now listen at the start of the drop 2 how intense they are. Not only the elements are a bit more intense, the cutoff of the chords are more intense, but you also have the vocal over here, which makes the whole story more exciting and more fun to listen to. But why are we doing this? Essentially, we're making the story more interesting as it progresses to keep the listener always focused and always interested in listening to our song. And for this to happen, I have two rules that I apply to all my songs. First, every 8-bar loop, something new has to happen. You either need to make an element more intense, or you need to add a new element that makes the songs more intense. Second, the drop 2 needs to be more exciting than the drop 1. So if you overstuff your drop 1, you're not gonna have space enough for your drop 2. So make sure to pace the way that you're adding your elements throughout your song. But melodic house, it's not only about the story that you're telling, but it's also about the way that you're adding your elements and the mood that you're trying to to convey to your elements. Melodic house tends to be really chill and really soft in their melodies, and using a dissonant chord progression can actually wreck the mood of the song and actually make it sound a bit weird. Listen, for example, to this chord progression that it's in F major. Now answer me this, which one is lighter? This one that we just played or this one that we're playing right now? Essentially, it's the same progression that we're playing, but if you look over here in Ableton, you can see that instead of a B flat, we're playing a B. And then you can ask me, Leo, but there is no B in F major. And you're correct, there's no B in F major. But we're using another scale called F Lydian, in which instead of the B flat, we're gonna use the B. So instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, we're gonna use 1, 2, 3, 4. And this helps us in a couple of ways. First, it opens doors to new scales different than the major and the minor scales that we listen to in a bunch of songs. And second, therefore, these melodies allow us to make major and minor scales a little bit softer and a little bit more emotional, which sometimes can be really useful for melodic house and also for making your song convey the right emotion. And that's why learning music theory is really important, because without them, you wouldn't be able to know that you can use different chord progressions outside of the major and minor scale, and these will help you convey the right emotion to your song. Now answer me this, would you like to see more music theory videos over here for melodic house? Let me know over here in the comments below. And now that we have the right chord progression with the right mood, it's time to select the right elements to go along with the same emotion. Emotions go beyond just the chord progressions that you're using, and the sounds that you select play a big role in the emotion as well. For example, between these two drum loops, which one feels chiller to you? Now listen to drum loop number 2. They both have elements with the same purpose, a kick, a hat, a shaker, and a clap, but essentially one is more aggressive than the other. And that is happening because in drum loop number 1, we're using more organic sounds that convey a chiller emotion to your song, while the second one, we're using more aggressive drum sounds that convey a more aggressive kind of sound, but they're both correct. Again, it all depends on the vibe that you're going after. So after making your chord progression, make sure to answer this question to you. Which vibe are you going after? Are you going for a track that is chiller or for a track that is more aggressive? If you're going for a track that is chiller, prefer drum loop number 1. If you're going for a track that is more aggressive, prefer drum loop number 2. And that also plays a big role in the sound design of your song as well. For example, listen to this bit over here of the track Forsaken Dream by Nora En Pure. Now listen to the second part of the same song and tell me which one is chiller, the first part or the second one. It's the same song and the same MIDI, but one feels more aggressive than the other. So it's not only about the drums that you select, but it's also about the sound design that you select for your elements. And this is really important because it doesn't matter if you have the right melody, the right chord progression, if your elements don't match with the same vibe of your chord progression and the same vibe of your melody as well. But in melodic house, you honestly don't have to overthink the sound design of your songs. And that takes us to the point number 5 of this video. As said before, you don't have to overthink the sound design in your melodic house tracks. Again, melodic house, it's about the feelings and the emotions that you're bringing with your song, and the sound design complements it, but it's not the main character. Listen, for example, to the song called IY by Yodo and Lane 8, and listen how amazing the lead is in this song. It sounds amazing, and if you look at the sound design over here in Ableton, it's a simple sawtooth with only a few effects, and that's essentially it. But don't feel that you can't be aggressive with your sound design, because it can also be really nice in your song. For example, listen to the song called Overtones by Frost. That was the song that James Grant, the owner of Anjunadeep and Anjunadeep, thought that would put Frost in the map, and that essentially was because of the sounds he used in the song. Therefore, don't think that you need to overthink the sound design in your melodic house, because sometimes it can be really simple, but you can also use it as a differential to your song, so don't think that you can make it so complex as well. Again, what matters is that the sound design of your song matches the energy and the feelings of your song, which are the most important things in melodic house. And now let's go to another crucial element in melodic house, which are ear candies. Melodic house without ear candy is like going to the movies without popcorn. It works, but it's meh. And that's the same with ear candies and songs. Listen, for example, to Salta by Sultan and Shepard and listen to how many ear candies they have in their songs. A lot of percussive ear candies, vocals, and even some fun that keeps pulsating in the song, and it's amazing to create some background in the song. For example, listen now to Cappadocia by Ben Bohmer and listen to the ear candies over there as well. The lead of the song may be the vocal, but there's a lot of synths that complement the background of the song and makes that lead shine through a lot more. And that's what ear candy is all about. First, it's not the main element of the song, so it's always in the background, making the song a bit fuller where it would be a bit empty. And second, it's not supposed to take the spotlight. It just complements the lead, complementing the story, and essentially making the story a bit more interesting for the listen from the beginning till the end. Remember, we listen to the song because of the melody and the bass and the kick, and the ear candy only complements the song. It's like when we go to the movies. We go to the movies because we want to watch the film, and the popcorn just makes the experience a lot more fun, doesn't it? But now, how do you make ear candies? If you don't know how to make ear candies, you can go to this video over here and I show you how you can make ear candies. And you can also go to this video over here and you can see how Tinlicker uses ear candies and progress their stories in their songs as well. I hope you liked the video and I hope to see you soon in the next Abstrakt video. Ciao.